You're listening to Is That Jazz? Straight No Chaser, a podcast featuring veterans talking jazz and life.
Welcome to the audience. Welcome to everyone out there. And what's good to my co-host of the Is That Jazz podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Michael Looney, retired Air Force, hailing from the great state of New Jersey, now residing in the Las Vegas area. And in order to email me, you can reach me at mtoonz, MTOONZ, at isthatjazz.com. That's MTOONZ at isthatjazz.com. And let me introduce some of my co-hosts. We have Jerome Wilson, also retired Air Force, repping Chicago, Illinois, now residing in the Dallas area, but he's still a Bears fan. Next we have Kevin Solomon, retired Air Force also, repping Brooklyn, New York. Better known as Big Sarge. We'll all be hosting. That's right. We'll all be hosting from time to time. So stay tuned for feedback from all three of us. We want all of you to also be involved in this. This isn't just for us that are hosting. This is for everyone. You know, jazz is a genre that speaks differently to each person. So as we go through this journey of letting you know what our thoughts are, we want to give you the meaning of certain tunes, but still feel free to hit us up and give us your input on your feelings, likes, dislikes, whatever strikes you at the time at isthatjazz.com. Also, while we're all veterans, we have a particular connection to our fellow veterans and their families. We want to extend a warm welcome to them as well, and to everyone that has an interest in our conversations. We encourage your participation, so feel free to engage with us. Feel free to add your comments and send us your emails, once again, at isthatjazz.com. And I'd be remiss if I didn't let you know that we are overly excited to talk about and question one of our favorite music genres, jazz. So, right now, let me bring in my other co-hosts to introduce themselves. Let's get it, fellas. Who's next?
Go for it, Jerome.
All right, I'm Jerome Wilson, one of your hosts, as Mike told you, straight out of the south side of Chicago via the west side of Chicago. 20 years in the Air Force, like he said. And that chapter in my life is closed, but the bonds that I forged during that 20-year career, they're tighter than ever. And my two co-hosts, I met them as friends, and friendship is out the window. These guys are my brothers. I mean, two brothers from another mother, tighter than we'll ever be, And I'll jump in front of a bullet for any one of these guys, period. And that's coming from real from the heart. And it's just an outlet to let veterans get what's off their chest, want to talk to us about anything really that you want. But we want to do it around a theme of jazz, because during our military careers, we always, during our downtime, we enjoyed going back to the dorm or to the club, listening to some jazz. And there was great artists out there. That takes away the stress of being in the military, being away from your family. You can sit back with your comrades, have fun, play some spades, dominoes, bid whist, listen to music, and just have a good time over some jazz in the background. And that's what this is about to me. And we want this to be for you also. My email address is mailman@isthatjazz.com, because I used to be a mailman, so I kind of stuck with that. But man, this is going to be awesome, because this is for you guys. This is not just for us. This is my way to stay connected with two brothers I met over 43 years. And believe it or not, during those 43 years, we had like a 20-year gap in between not even seeing each other. But that did not have a strain on our friendship, our relationship. it made us stronger. And every time we got together, it's like we were just together yesterday. But now with this podcast, we see each other every week. And maybe one day Kevin will run back some of the bloopers we've done, and you can really see some behind the scenes of what's going on with
Amen.
With three guys in their 60s trying to put something together with modern technology. We finally got it cooked now, so we doing okay, man. But that's all I got to say right now. I just want to pass this over to Kevin so you can get to know who he is, and you'll get to know who I am and Mike over the course of the next 10, 20 years, I hope.
Well said.
Because we're not going nowhere. We're going to be here. We're going to be
right
here. We're going to be here. And hopefully we can give you some value to your life, and you can spread that to the people that you know. Because if we can't give you any value, there's no point of us being here. Just, we don't be a bunch of clowns up here just talking. We want to have fun, talk about real life experiences, but we want it to be of value to you.
True.
That's all I got right now. Kevin, take it away, brother.
All right. Hey, look, you might even see some of those bloopers at the end of this episode. All right. Hey, look, I'd like to welcome y'all to the Is That Jazz Straight No Chaser podcast. Okay. My name is Kevin Solomon. I hail from Brooklyn, New York. As I said earlier, Brooklyn Night for life. I presently reside in the state of Florida. Hey, look, I'm like lost for words. I'm so excited right now. I'm just so glad that we finally got to the point where we're actually recording our first episode. You don't know what we had to go through just to get here. We like, three old dudes. I wouldn't say we three blind mice, but we was close to it, But just getting equipment together, finding the right software, and it was a blast. It really was. It actually brought us together. As Jerome was saying earlier, we maybe got in touch with each other once a year, twice a year, or something like that, via phone calls and what have you. But trying to put this podcast together, hey, we were seeing each other 2-3 times a week and whatnot. So it's like. The friendship is still there. The camaraderie is still there. And the jokes are still there. I mean, we talk about each other like crazy,
Without a
But
doubt.
look, I'm glad that, that our theme to this podcast is jazz. We put this podcast together so we can relate to you, our military careers, the stories, that we have to tell, some good, some bad, some funny, and also how jazz influenced our career, how it influenced our life, not just our military life, but our family life as well. So we want to share that with you guys, okay? We want you guys to be able to, we want to hear from you. We're not set up for that now. Eventually we'll get there. Like I said, we're new in the game. But we're willing to learn, you're never too old to learn new tricks. So y'all got any info that you can share with us to help us better our podcast, we would appreciate it. And by the way, my email is bigsarge@isthatjazz.com. And the reason why I picked Big Sarge is because I'm the tallest of the group, 6'2", 250 pounds. So Big Sarge fits. So, like I said, we want to hear from you. We want to interact with you. We want to hear your stories. We want to hear about the time you had, your assignments, basic training, the friends you made, the situations you ran into along the way, whether good or bad. We want to know it all. Basically, what I want to do is, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna end it. But every Veterans Day, get together with a group of vets, and then we go, restaurant hopping, and sometimes some of the restaurants we go to, they'll have like a bunch of tables together, and you're sitting there with, other vets that you don't even know, and we're talking Korean War vets, World War II vets, Vietnam era vets, and you're sitting there, and just that one day out the year, we're having a ball. We're listening to stories that were told by our fathers, our grandfathers, and it doesn't get any better than that. That, to me, that's a sacred day. So I'm saying, why we only have that day once a year? why not have it whenever the hell we want to? So this is why this podcast is blooming. Hopefully it'll bloom. And no, hopefully it will. Okay, because you're going to help it grow, because you're going to be part of this. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to basically lost for words again. see what I'm saying? We're new to this. This is new to us. You know, we don't want to script this out. We want to ad lib it. We want to speak from the heart. We don't want to speak from the paper. We want to speak from the heart. So right now, this whole podcast is about introducing us, letting you know what the podcast is for, when we'll be, airing our podcast and all that. So with that said, I'm dying for somebody else to take the floor so I can shut the hell up.
Yeah, we tired of listening to
you. Yeah. This podcast is it's only run by us, but it's for you. So please give some rap. Talk to us. Let us know what you think about some of the things we're doing. Let us know about some of the music we're playing. If it brings back memories, if it's something that brings a specific memory to you, please feel free. Jump in. Let us know. Give us some rap on that. We're always here to listen, but we're always here for this podcast. Like I say, is that jazz? It's straight, no chaser. Give it to us.
Guess who came up with the straight no chaser part?
Yeah. You see who came up with that part. You see.
There you go, man. I joined you, Jerome, but I drank my one and only Heineken Double Lot yesterday.
That's okay.
On Memorial Day.
you and I had our drinks before.
We had plenty.
Well, matter of fact, since we're on that subject right now, I got one. This is how I met this guy named Kevin down in Lackland Air Force Base, San Antonio, in August. I believe it was August of.
I think it was 81. 81. Yep, August of 81.
I'm sitting in the day room. Nobody in there. Girlfriend at the time, which is my wife now. I'm talking to her on the phone, and this guy bebops into the day room, has a big bottle of scotch.
Passport scotch.
And then he goes over to the pool table. Like I said, it was quiet in there. Wasn't nobody in there. And then he tosses the balls on the pool table. Then he starts hitting the pool balls. So I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to call you tomorrow because some fool in here shooting pool now. And I can't hear you. So we hang up. I look up at him and he's like, hey, man, my name's Kevin. What's your name? I told him my name. You want a drink? And you know what? We've been friends ever since.
No joke. I'm
serious. Y'all took it there, huh? Passport.
Yeah, I took it there. Passport. I don't even know why I was drinking. I think it was the cheapest thing in the package store.
There you go.
We weren't making a lot of money back in them days, so
yeah. What was it, like $4 or $5 a quart?
Probably.
Yeah,
man. But, package store. Those package stores.
Just to let your youngest know, back in the day, it wasn't no milliliters and liters. It was quart, pints, and
quarts,
and ounces.
Even half pints.
Half pints. That's right.
Yeah. Man. Something to put in your back pocket.
In your back pocket.
That's it. I mean, you didn't go to the store and ask for a milliliter of OE.
No.
You asked for a quart of OE, know? QT. Man. Let me get a QT or some OE,
Yep.
Yeah, man.
We didn't even call them 40s. They were quarts.
That's it. That's it. Even though it was 40 ounces, we would still call them quarts.
That's right. But little did I know that meeting would turn into a 43-year friendship. I really.
Yeah.
But in the military, my experience was, you get around people, you're gonna click with some people. You're not gonna click with everybody in the military. It's just too many people are from too many different places and too many different personalities. but you found your core group that you're going to click with, because you need, in that environment, you need to know who's got your back. Because you never know what situation. Yeah, we're in the Air Force, the Chair Force, as some people call us. So we, because actually we scored high enough on the test to have a choice. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there straight off. I hear the Chair Force every day, so I'm going the way I'm going. But we all had. Everybody had a choice. Everybody had a choice. Some people chose the Marines, Navy, and Army.
Yeah,
and
but we all brothers in arms.
But we all brothers in arms. And I joke about the test and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the way it was. And
yeah, man.
That's where I met this guy.
Yeah.
And we just bonded, man. I knew he had my back, I had his back. And pretty much when they say love at first sight, this was friendship at first sight, really.
Yeah.
And the whole cool thing about it was really the only assignment that Jerome and I and Mike and I were really stationed together was one, I believe. I was stationed with Mike in Masawa Air Base, my first duty assignment, Masawa Air Base, Japan. I was stationed there with Mike. And after that, Mike went his way and I went my way. But we somehow or another, even after Mike got out, we all wound up in Colorado.
And that's what's funny, because
that's true.
Because we was in tech school together. Kevin went to Colorado Springs. I went to Denver.
Right?
Then Kevin said, "Hey, I know somebody in Denver." I was like, "Cool," because I ain't know nobody in Denver.
Yeah, that was when Lowry Air Force Base was open.
That was Mike. Yeah.
Right. And then Kevin had a car, and Kevin said, I was going to fly up to Denver. Kevin's like, "Hey, I'm going to Colorado Springs. I can just drop you in Denver." I was like, "Okay, cool." And then when we got to Denver, he introduced me to Mike. Same thing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't no pool balls involved or nothing like that, but but it was
no passport scotch.
Not at all. No, we kind of upgraded a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was an instant friendship, and I've been friends with him ever since. Seriously, because Kevin left. You went back on leave to New Jersey or something. You left Mike your car, and I'm in the dorm. I didn't know nothing, so I walked to Mike's house all the time. Just to get up.
Mike was that close?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't that close, but it was
close. Yeah, okay, I remember now. Yeah,
it was out the gate, and you go west, and then you keep going west. And if you went too far, you was at Stapleton Airport on the runway. Remember, you stayed right across.
Dodging planes and shit.
Yeah, but it was in walking distance though. So I walk over his house, he give me a ride back. It was cool.
Yeah, man.
And but we've been friends ever since.
Fun times, man.
And then when we left, I left there in what? I was the first one to leave, 84. I left in 84, went to Italy.
Yeah.
And then Kevin went someplace.
I left in 85 and went to Turkey.
Mike stayed in Denver for a while and went to California.
Yep.
And that was the last time we seen each other.
Yeah.
Together.
Right.
Together.
Yeah.
I mean, all three of us. Then I saw Mike when I left Italy, came to Texas. Mike came to Texas one time. He was he took a flight and had to spend the night. And I went to pick him up. I just started the post office, so I couldn't miss no work. So I brought Mike to the house. He slept on the couch.
Yeah.
Early that morning, Mike, I got to go to work, man. I can't be off. But he got back to the airport, and I seen him there. Then he came back again when he did a radio spot, and he'll tell you about that. So that's 2 times I've seen Mike. Then I saw Kevin only 1 time since then when I got to Offutt in Nebraska. He came TDY.
I came out there at TDY. I was working. I was stationed at Wright Pat at the time.
Right.
Working out of the wow, man, it's been so long. 1815th Operational Test and Evaluation Center.
Ooh, you remember?
And, we would fly worldwide.
You remember that like it was yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We fly worldwide testing and troubleshooting secure communication equipment. So we had a TDY out at Offutt, and that's when I caught up with Jerome out at Offutt.
And that was the first time I've seen him in years. And then we went our ways again. But here's the fun part. Mike went to the Pro Bowl every year. And then it was in Hawaii at the time. He used to always say, "Man, come go to the Pro Bowl. Come go to the Pro Bowl." And I said, "I can't go." Like, going to the Pro Bowl. I said, "I never took my wife to Hawaii." so I can't go to Hawaii without taking her.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, so I never went to the Pro Bowl.
That'd be kind of rough.
Real rough.
You'll be finding residents in Hawaii.
You ain't lying. And then the Pro Bowl moved to Orlando. And the first year, I bought a ticket and I couldn't go. So I called up Kevin. I said, hey, man, I got this ticket to the Pro Bowl. All you got, Mike there, all you got to do is get the ticket and you can go watch the Pro Bowl. So Kevin went and did that. The following year, it went there again. So I made sure I got there and I took my son. I took my son with me.
Yeah, I took my son too.
Yeah, Kevin brought his son up, and I specifically.
And Mike, your son was there too, right?
No, that was his brother.
No.
That was the first.
Brother.
That was
the first one was his brother.
It was your brother. That's who it was. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And your brother-in-law. And brother's-in-law.
Yeah. Yep. Donald.
Was it Donald?
Oh, Donald. Yeah, Donald. Donald. Yeah. He did. Yeah, he came with me that time.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the second time I went, I told my son I wanted him to go. And he's like, well, I gotta go. I said, because I want you to, he was always talking about friends of this and friends that. I said, no, I want you to meet real friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, and this was in what, 2016 maybe? I think.
It was
2018 then. 2016, 17, 18. One of those years.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, right.
And that was the first time us three was in the same room together since 1984.
Yeah, that's saying
right.
a lot.
Yeah.
Hey,
1984. We three had never been in the same room since 1984 together.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But the friendship and the brotherhood was still there.
Still there.
I must say that's one thing the military brings.
That's it. That's it.
You will remember. You may see somebody that you haven't seen in 10, 15 years, and you walking through an airport, and you look to your right, and you look to your right, and you're like, "Hey, man," and you look at each other, and So
like,
a lot of camaraderie.
Like Craig and Rich from
Misawa.
Remember Rich?
He was from Japan.
He was from what was
Richie
he from?
Rich. Yeah, he was from.
Where was he from?
He was from Akron, Ohio. Man.
That's right. He was from Akron, Ohio. Man, that boy was crazy.
He was out of Akron, Ohio.
That boy was crazy. But hey, Mike, going back to talking about Misawa, I remember when my second day there, when I got my assignment, I thought my assignment didn't come back and say Misawa Air Base, Japan. When I got my assignment, I was in tech school. It said that the island of Honshu. So I'm like, where is that at? Like, well, that's in the Pacific. So I'm thinking I'm going someplace, 90-degree weather, palm tree, beaches. I'm thinking, hey, this is nice, man. This is nice. I found out later that Honshu was the actual name of the island, the actual name for Japan. Yeah. And so I'm still thinking, okay, Japan. I'm not thinking snow now. And I stepped off when I flew into Misawa and I stepped off that C-130. I was knee deep in snow.
I was just going to say, when you got there, you was thinking snow.
I didn't believe it could snow that much in Japan, but man, I was deep. And this was like in June or something like that, man. I'm like, what the heck? Knee deep in snow. But I'm gonna tell you what, though, as far as music and jazz, second day on the base, I went downtown to Abenas. Remember Abenas, where you can buy a whole stereo system and buy it on layaway, take it back to the dorm, and make payments on it. Every dorm had at least $100,000 worth of stereo equipment in it. The cool thing about it, nobody locked their doors. We didn't have to. You didn't have to. Everybody pretty much, if you had less than 2 speakers in your room, then you weren't about nothing. Okay, you had to have these 4 speakers with 16-inch woofers in your room. So that my second day on the base, I was off that day. I went downtown, went to Abenas, got me a stereo system. So I got me a Kai 4-channel receiver. I got 4 Kenwood speakers with 16-inch woofers. I got me a Marantz tape player, and I think I got me an RCA equalizer and whatever. But
to all them reel to reel people. Used to
oh
have,
yeah, that's
too.
right. I bought
That's
a TAC or
Yeah.
they say an antique,
Yeah.
a 12-inch reel to reel, and then I bought a Kai 7-inch reel to reel. But the Akai, if I'm not mistaken, well, one of them was 4-channel, one was 2-channel, because my receiver was 4-channel. So then I forgot who made this turntable, but it was all manual. I mean, if you wanted to change the speed from 33 to 45, you had to take the platter off and change the belt. I mean, it was low. I mean, I'm like seriously in the stereo, low wow and flutter, low distortion, low signal to noise ratio. So I went and bought this really nice turntable, and then I went to the BX and got my first jazz out, and that was Billy Cobham.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, Billy
Cobham.
Cobham.
Billy Cobham.
Took that back to the room, threw that on the turntable, and he played a 4-channel synthesized drums. Woo! I just listen all around the room, man. That drum beat was flying all around the room. That was my first taste of jazz. That's about as close to live I could get back in the day.
Yeah, man. Shoot. I don't know how many people out there still remember Billy Cobham.
Oh yeah.
Man.
It's so many out there.
That man was
people coming on top
something
of
else, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he used to do.
I ain't played nothing of his in years. You know that?
Yeah. I don't have that system anymore, so I don't even have my albums anymore. But still, that was an experience for me.
I didn't get rid of my albums.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I didn't get rid of them. The albums used to be the thing. I tell you. Especially
Mike turned me on to a lot of jazz when I was in Japan. Man. And my sponsor too, Reginald Cease from DC. God bless his soul. That man was real.
So that's where you picked up jazz at, was in the South?
I picked it up in Japan. Coming from New York back in the 70s, I ain't gonna lie, I was in disco, Studio 54, and then rap came out right before I left in 77. Yep. And so I was just we had started this little DJ group. We called ourselves Sound Pro Disco. I mean, I used to listen to WBLS. What was it? 107.5 on your FM dial, I believe it was. And I used to listen to the Quiet Storm at night, and they played all jazz. You remember that, Mike?
Yep, I do remember the Quiet Storm. I remember all that with WBLS and all that.
Yeah. Or even was 105.7. I'm quite sure it was it 105?
Yeah, I think so.
107.5. I always get it mixed up. But still, that's what chilled me out at night when I came home from work, and I just wanted to lay my head down and hear some smooth music, turn on the Quiet Storm. So I mean, I was listening to jazz before I left New York, but I really didn't get into it, like paid much attention to the artists, the sound, how it affected me, really, because until I met Mike, till I got to Japan. Yeah.
Remember Frankie Crocker and all them?
Yeah,
man. That's
Frankie Crocker. Oh man, that's taking me way back. So you know the deal between Frankie Crocker and the Isley Brothers, right? I don't even want to get into that.
Oh man. Gee. Man. Gee. Yeah, man.
That's it, man. So I mean, growing up in New York, like I said, I listened to the Quiet Storm, and jazz was my escape from the city.
Without a doubt.
It quieted things down. Where I lived in the projects. I lived on the 8th floor, 6th floor, and the bus passed by my building every 20 minutes. I mean, you always heard gunshots. You always heard people screaming, car, tires screeching. I mean, there was no peace. But I get in my room, put on my black light, turn my lights off, put on my black light, close the door, and just put on WBLS. Yeah. And that took me away. And then all I thought about was, don't get me wrong, I love New York. If I had to do it all over again, I would. You get an education growing up in a city that you wouldn't get nowhere else. But I knew there was more to the world than just New York. and all I ever thought about was just not getting away from New York, but traveling.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
meeting new people. You know,
Yeah.
going new places, and you know, learning other people's ways of life and customs and food and stuff like that.
Mm.
So you know, jazz did all that for me.
Yeah, you know, I like what you said, man. You know, with the hustle and bustle and always moving and stuff, you know, what you said was jazz slowed things down for me.
Yeah,
You know, and that makes sense. You know, it really did. You know, I feel the same. It kind of slowed things down for me. My brother was the first one that turned me on to jazz, you know. And y'all know Kyle. Y'all know you know Kyle. You know, he's the first one that turned me on to jazz. And for a while there, you know, like you were saying, you know, you in that New Jersey, New York area, you getting that disco beat and all of that, you know, but then, you know, all of a sudden it's like, wow, what is this? You know, what's this new thing happening? You know, you figure out jazz, and then all of a sudden everything started to slow down, you know, just nice and easy, but you know, and you get that good sound, and then also you get that, you can also get that heavy beat, like we was just talking about Billy Cobham, you know, you can also get that, but you know, it just, there's such a range, you know, within jazz, you know, it could go from that.
yep, in the same song.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know,
Song.
that's the whole thing. Yeah, man.
Like Stanley Clark, Vulcan Princess.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
that's a cut. That's a cut.
Man.
Just want to let people out there know, once we get organized and get used to doing this, we're going to be, we can play music. We can. We're not a radio station. We're not a DJ, station, but when we're whatever we're talking about, we can go ahead and play it. So at least give you a little listen to see what we're talking about.
Let y'all know what we're talking about, you know?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that's something that we're here for. That is part of our purpose here on this podcast.
That's right.
To
Jazz
let
is
you
a great
know what we're
influence in
talking
music,
about.
too. Very good influence.
Yeah.
And just like these guys, I grew up with it myself because my father played either blues or jazz. He
Nice.
worked 2 jobs, and on the Fridays and Saturdays, that was his chill out. I think jazz really is a chill out place for people. It's your safe place. It's your place where you go, where you just lay your troubles down. You just sit back and the music take you. You go wherever it go. And I got turned on to some old jazz, like Thelonious Monk.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, Thelonious.
Yeah.
I heard Charlie Parker in my house. Things
Oh,
like that.
yeah. I had some of that too.
Yeah.
Those other guys that I heard. Then my sister turned me on. She was 6 years older than me. She brought an album in the house one day talking about, check this out. Donald Byrd and the Blackbirds, Rock Creek Park and all that.
That's the cut right there, bro.
That got into me. And I used to play guitar. Started playing guitar when my father brought me a guitar home one day.
Mhm.
I didn't even ask for it. He brought me a guitar, electric guitar home. And like Kevin, I grew up in the projects. So we had 8 buildings, 13 floors. Probably had 800 different little groups over there. Because everybody's trying to make it. And And actually, I was fortunate enough to hook on to this guy named Charlie Hush. He stayed in my building on, I think, the 5th or 6th floor. He was like always steps ahead of everybody. He always was showing me stuff. And he actually went on to become the bass player for the Emotions in the late 70s. And he's still playing today. But I always wanted to play jazz music. I didn't want to play, funk and all that stuff was good. Motown was good, but to me it was repetitious, and I was bored with it. But I did it anyway because, somebody needed a guitar. Hey, here you go. But I always wanted to play jazz, but people my age didn't want to play no jazz. So I put the guitar down and picked it up several different times. And if you look right here, I've picked it up again.
Hey, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, man.
But the thing about it, it's a gift that I got that I didn't cultivate, and that's my fault. But and today I sit down and I can still groove with some music, and I've thrown some jazz music, and I look at the chords here.
Hey, but
I can still jazz. I jam with it. But that's just for myself.
There you go. That's what it's about.
That's for my inner peace. I'm not looking for an audience or nothing, but I just
right.
And say, hey, let me learn this. Let me learn this song. And I found out at the age of 68. Your fingers don't go where they used to.
No, they go where they want to, not where they used to. They go where they want to.
Right. They go where they can.
Yeah, shoot.
So sometimes your chords might not be in the right. It might not be the right chord, but it's fun. But it's fun.
And that's what it's about, man.
And
that's what it's
and
about.
even when I joined the Air Force, even in basic training, you go to the rec center. And one day I heard somebody playing some music, and I was like, "Where'd you get a guitar from?" He said, "Oh, you can sign out a guitar over here." So I went to sign out a guitar, and we sit there and we jam, and somebody else come up, sign out some drums, and we'd be sitting there just not playing nothing, but playing something. Somebody start with an instrument, and you just join in, and we do that for hours, and that was fun.
Stuff.
That was fun,
Yeah, man.
So that's where I'm
good
from
stuff.
with the music part.
Yeah, I wish I was like that with jazz. I mean, jazz was my escape. Everybody, my friends were like, they were in the disco, they were in the rapping, they were in the, we had, like I said, we had our own little group called Sound Pro Disco. We used to DJ at the community centers in the projects, and then we DJ for the little small corner bars, and we just wherever we could make $50 a night, something like that.
Yeah.
And whatever we made off our little ventures, we just went downtown and bought more records. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
But the jazz, I mean, it's like that was my own private solitude. What WBLS was. That was my own private solitude. When I was the person in my room with the lights off and the black light on and WBLS was not the person that hung outside. You know what I'm saying? It was a totally different person. If I showed that person in my room to my friends outside, they would say, "Man, we taking away your hangout card." You know
what though? When you say that, Kevin, sometimes you can't. When you do stuff like that, the people you grew up with, you can't share that with them.
You can't. You can't.
Because like I said, when I was growing up and started playing in my high school years, my mother she didn't approve of me being in the band. So
wow.
She wouldn't let me. That's the truth. But so I did play with some bands. I had to sneak off and do that.
Yeah.
And I did not even tell the guys in my neighborhood because I would go, being from Chicago, from the West Side, I was always back on the West Side most of the time.
Yeah.
When I wasn't hanging in my, my new neighborhood. So that's where I played at, and my father knew I did it because he would stop by.
It was funny how information about you in the streets always seemed to make it back to your parents.
if the wrong people know it, so.
Yeah.
And actually, I told two guys about it like 2 weeks ago. I showed them. I think I showed you that picture before when I was in the band playing the guitar in the background.
Yeah.
And I put that up to a couple of guys, and they's like, "When did you do that? I didn't know you did that." I was like, I couldn't tell y'all because y'all would have got back to my mother because one of y'all would have told your mother, and then it would have went back. And I could see my mother. I could see my mother coming up in the club, making me leave because I was only like 15, 16 years old. I was underage.
Yeah, I think we all were, man. I mean,
without a doubt.
I mean, growing up, even Mike growing up in New Jersey, y'all was right across the water from us.
Yeah, man. Jazz is, one thing I will say about jazz though, man, in a sense of music, jazz is always relevant. It's always relevant. You can pick up something from when Grover was way back in the band and that's Grover,
Yeah.
So,
because everybody had their own distinct style.
Yeah, Quincy.
Distinct sound. They
had
their sound.
Q. Quincy was. Back then you knew. Oh, that's Quincy.
You knew his sound.
Yeah.
From Patty Austin you know,
Yeah,
and
man.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
you could just hear it in the background music, be like, oh man, that was that's Quincy right there, you know.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know what he's doing in there, you know. Yeah, man, that's just, that's just stuff, And then then you can go back, and if you really want to listen to something, you can talk about Miles and those guys,
And we'll be going back that far too.
Yeah, Freddie Hubbard, and yeah, man,
Maynard Ferguson.
Yes,
yeah,
man, Maynard used to blow that horn, man.
Blow that horn, yep.
Ooh, man.
Everybody knew who Dizzy Gillespie was, but not too many people knew who Maynard was.
Oh,
man. He would blow that horn.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Was that French horn he played?
Yeah, man. He played everything.
He did. He played everything.
He would switch up on you, And
sure did.
Man, he was really with it. Yeah,
yeah.
I used to love listening to that. You go home, and when you had a little record player, you had one of them. That's all you had.
That's it.
Record player.
A little penny sounding record player.
Yeah. They even had 33 and a thirds back then.
I was gonna say you move it over to 33.
Mike, the record was bigger than the record player. Remember that?
I know. It'd be bigger than the wheel. Like, is it gonna fit?
Yeah.
Is it gonna play?
And as we laugh at that, my father had stuff that was 78s.
78. We did too. We did too, man. We had a lot of 78s.
Because I used to
we had Count Basie. This was my mom and dad's records. Count Basie, Billy Holiday.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, we had some old stuff. So old Nat King Cole on 78.
Ooh.
Yeah, man. Even had the Temptations album Cloud 9 on 78, bro.
Really? Oh wow!
That wasn't even that old.
Y'all must have bought that one from
you
Korea.
Wanna be?
Yeah, Cloud 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cut right there.
Yeah, man. Shoot, that's way back, bro.
If you really want to have some fun, you put one of them 33s on 78 and watch it go real fast. That be sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, for real.
Exactly, man. You used to do that as kids, man.
Oh, man.
You had to do something.
Then you get in trouble because you done met my father.
Yeah.
Up my albums.
So, like, my grandmother had one of those stereo consoles. It looked like a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
And you open it up and it all light up. The knobs light up. Had like little white ivory knobs and stuff. Mm-hmm. Hey, you couldn't touch that thing. You couldn't touch that thing.
Better not.
Yeah. So my grandmother's living room, she lived in the projects too, but so in her living room, you couldn't go in her living room. That was the museum.
Yeah, man. You got all that plastic on the couches and chairs.
You can look, but you can't go in there. You can't sit on nothing.
Right?
No, man. You can't be sitting on that stuff. Man, I remember that. Those were the days, bro. But
Those
just
were the
think,
days,
man. Jazz has been around for so long. And that's why I say it's just, it's something that's never gonna die.
Yep.
Because everybody's keeping it alive, and
everybody's keeping it alive. Everybody and their mama is sampling it.
Yeah. Do you know that this is something that I never knew about Bob James until I read something about him.
Mm-hmm.
He is the most sampled artist.
Yes.
For hip hop.
For hip hop, I read that too.
Hip hop.
That freaked me out. I'm like,
me too. I was like, huh? I said, Bob James? You don't think about it, but I guess, man, he's playing that piano. He's doing stuff like that. He's multi-talented. So that's really something, man, to think about.
Yep. But you know what though, man? Jazz is in good hands. When I think about it, because you turned me on to Jazz in the Park in Las Vegas. Mike goes to these free concerts. It's called Jazz in the Park.
Mm-hmm.
The first act are these high school kids from Las Vegas Academy of Arts.
Yeah,
I mean high school kids. And I live streamed it 2 weeks in a row. These young guys getting up there and they playing old. They're not playing no what we call smooth jazz. They're not playing
Old
that.
school,
They playing
like
old
contemporary
school
jazz.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and every one of them,
like quartet, quintets, and stuff like that.
and they each one of them has mastered their instrument, man. They
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I
really
was like,
good.
I had my mouth
Yeah.
open, like, wow, look at this.
Yeah, those kids can
And
play,
and
man.
Have not missed, and they don't miss a beat, man. They just.
None.
And if you turned your back and not knew who was playing, you would think of some grown men back there playing.
Yeah, but it's a bunch
They
of
have-
high school
and,
kids.
and they have girls playing too.
Yeah,
So it's like, on different instruments.
And by the way, just for people who are into jazz, that Jazz in the Park series still has 3 weekends to go. So if you get a chance, go check that out. You could get on Facebook. Just go to Facebook. What was that site, Jerome?
I'm gonna tell you.
Facebook.com/Jazz
No.
in the Park. What?
No. It's Clark County Amphitheater.
Right.
Clark County
Go
Amphitheater.
to
Clark County
Facebook
Amphitheater.
and go to Clark County Amphitheater. Every Saturday for the next 3 Saturdays, they're on there.
They'll have.
I think you got people like Kirk Whalum
Kirk
coming
Whalum's
up.
this week. They just
Yeah.
had Jonathan Butler.
Yeah,
this
Oh,
past
man.
Saturday. And
I was
Saturday-
This in
Saturday
Vegas, right?
before-
yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday
But-
before last, they had
But they stream it.
Spyro Gyra,
Yeah, they had
Oh,
Spyro
man.
Gyro on there.
and the week
On-
before that, they
and
had
it's-
Keiko Matsui.
Stewie, yeah.
The last act is always a top national artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they-
speaking of top national artists, I'm gonna put this out here. I'm not gonna drop a name, but we're gonna have a top national artist right here on this very show, interviewing him, and maybe he might blow a few tunes for us.
I hope so.
I know.
Or bring some recordings or something. We definitely want to play the music.
No, I'm sure he'll play something. When I asked him, I just said interview, but I'm sure I'm not gonna drop his name yet. He's an up and coming artist, and he's all over the place.
Yeah, he is.
And I was fortunate enough to meet him on Facebook during the pandemic, and we just back and forth, just talking. And I've never met an artist like that before that engaged the audience. You usually get a Facebook page, like a fan page or something. I sent the guy a message. He sent me a message back. I'm like, whoa, let me try this again. I sent a message. He sent a message back. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I sent another message. He said, hey, I'm going to be in Dallas such and such a time. Call this lady and tell her you know me and you'll have some tickets. I'm like, really? Okay. But unfortunately, the pandemic hit and Dallas.
That kind of messed everything up for everybody.
He worked all during the pandemic, but Texas canceled theirs. But we went to see him in Las Vegas, 2 years ago, two Octobers ago. And I took Mike and his wife, and I had another spot. Jessie and my wife Jessie, her 2 nieces were supposed to come, but they didn't come, so they blew it. And he got up there, man, and I was told that was the first time I seen him live. He totally entertained the hell out of me.
Entertained the hell out of that whole room.
And then when he came off the stage, he came over and said something, and Jessie looked at me like, "You really know him?" And I'm like, "I told you." But he's a down-to-earth guy, man. He's a down-to-earth guy.
And that's odd for someone that's an artist like that.
Yeah.
To be really that down-to-earth. And that's one thing I will say about him. He's just a very down-to-earth, regular person. But it'll be good to get him on the show and interview him and let him play a couple chords for us. And
really.
That'd be really good. But like I said, that Jazz in the Park, you still got like 3 Saturdays to go. If anybody gets a chance, if we get this out there in time for all y'all out in the audience to hear, Facebook, Clark County Amphitheater.
And if you miss it this year, it'll be back next year.
Mike, we should be able to get this out there in time because, look, I just want to let y'all know, we've been running our mouths for over 50 minutes now. And the thing about it, we were worried about, man, will we have enough content? Will we have enough to talk about? And we had 50 minutes. And we were talking about, all our podcasts were just going to be, 30 minutes long. We done blew that 30-minute time slot. So I think with that said, tune in next time. Bring your buddies, bring your family members, Bring everybody.
Yeah.
From Big Sarge, peace
Yeah.
out.
All right.
That concludes this episode. We hope you enjoyed our discussion. Is That Jazz? Straight No Chaser airs every other week at the same time and on the same day. YouTube viewers, please subscribe. We also encourage you to leave a comment and share your thoughts on our podcast. We'll be sure to reply to all comments. Goodbye for now and stay safe.